What's up, heathens? Today we're talking about Max Kolbe, or Red Pill Religion, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves now. Max here has done a stream in conjunction with the Discount Terminator to discuss the current state of atheism, or the atheism movement, community, however you want to think about it. The stream is like 45 minutes long, so I'm only cutting out the relevant parts to today's particular video. There is another video planned on another aspect of this stream that Max had, so if you want to catch that video, be sure to subscribe now. To get in today's video, Max has a very unique and insane conspiracy theory.
It's not deniable that the Four Horseman craze was an organized propaganda campaign by the social justice left more than 10 years ago. That's really what Dawkins, Dennett, Hitchens, and Harris all were. It was a planned propaganda campaign.
Yeah, you heard that right. I mean, I honestly don't know what this crazy conspiracy theory could lead to. I mean, if we're just gonna be making shit up, how about we have Richard Dawkins scooting around the sky on a pink dragon, pissing people off on Twitter? Hitchens didn't die, he just went home! And Harris is a big troll. No, I don't mean like the online internet troll, I mean a literal, just big-ass troll. Obviously, as you can tell, this conspiracy theory is just gonna get worse, and it does. It has multiple layers, and even, I mean, it has depth, I have to say. I mean, it is very deep.
And it was announced to coincide with a major effort spearheaded by people like Penn Jillette and TJ Kirk and...
Okay, so let's just get caught up to the point right here. So apparently, TJ Kirk, Penn Jillette, and the Four Horsemen were all a planned propaganda machine that was funded by some kind of weird millionaire. I mean, this conspiracy theory was crazy to begin with, but now once you start adding more actors to the mix, like, it doesn't help your case for this whole thing to be real, it only complicates it.
How there was an internet wing of this same new atheist phenomenon, and it was funded by ideological leftists repackaging standard Stalinist talking points. I mean, right down to the letter.
Whoa! Holy fuck, Max! So now, tackled on top of the existing conspiracy theory you have going, not only do you have the Four Horsemen, Penn Jillette, TJ Kirk, but now there's this separate other group of internet thuggery that was funded by a different set of ideological leftists. I cannot wait to hear more. Please, Max, please tell me more about this conspiracy theory. I'm loving it.
And a lot of people have even come out and admitted it. They created this sort of skeptic mafia that went around, and their goal really was to beat up Christians online and drive them offline.
Okay. So now we have three groups here. Okay, this is getting fucking interesting as shit. We got the Four Horsemen, Penn Jillette, and TJ Kirk. They're all over there hanging out, chilling, being funded by these social justice leftists, right? And then we have another internet gang of thuggery group that's funded by a completely separate group of millionaires who are meant to chase Christians off the internet, I guess. And now there's a skeptic mafia. So all three of these groups are working in tandem on not only propaganda campaigns, but also on attacking you. Well, not you specifically, just Christians. Attacking Christians on the internet. Oh, this is so fucking juicy, isn't it? I mean, can't you just imagine, like, the skeptic mafia going around and berating Christians with, like, facts and shit? I mean, just imagine the comments section like, hey, you know, it would be a shame if I came in here and started throwing around a bunch of fucking facts, wouldn't it? Oh, you wouldn't want that dislike bar to go down now, would you? How about you shut the fuck up and, maybe we won't delete your channel. Maybe, I'll give you a 1-star review somewhere. I'll drive you into oblivion. It's not really as effective as the real mafia. This is all ridiculous, but holy shit, it's interesting.
And I've talked to a lot of their victims and a few of the survivors, like Brett King.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The mannequin, really? Oh. You know, maybe if he didn't just continuously egg people on like TJ, then he wouldn't have such shit-filled comment sections or be berated at all. Now, it's not that I think that he shouldn't, stand up and use his voice. I think that's fine. But at the same time, if you're going to stand up and use your voice, you can't, bitch about people having opinions and them letting you know what those opinions are. I mean, this is Internet 101 shit here, Max.
Not long ago, Dave the Distributist, who can't stand me, by the way, but that's all right.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
This sailed right over his head. He was in a stream with Noel Plum, who's one of the old guard guys, the thugs who came in to do this. The thug Noel Plum admits that they bullied Christians off the internet. That's what they did.
Okay, so we've got TJ Kirk and the Four Horsemen over here. We got random internet gang over here, and then we've got the mafia. So which one does Noel Plum actually fit in? Is he just the regular internet gang, or is he part of the skeptic mafia? I don't know which. You're not really specifying here there, Max. I think I'm gonna put the Noel Plum figurine in the regular internet gang because the skeptic mafia is really organized. I doubt he's the head of the skeptic mafia. We all know that's Armored Skeptic. I mean, this conspiracy theory is so elaborate, I don't even think he understands how elaborate it is.
Do that, and they were trained and they were organized to do that and to behave this way. It's like an internet version of the League of the Militant Godless that was created.
Yes.
And it was a left-wing project. A hard left-wing project, in fact, a Marxist project.
So this League of the Militant Godless, or rather Atheist, it's technically the League of Militant Atheists. They were a group in Soviet Russia. They actively suppressed religious expression in the country. Of course, this was at the orders of Stalin, and he regularly loves to throw out the whole Stalin was an atheist thing like it actually fucking matters, but it doesn't. Now, they suppressed religious expression pretty violently and extensively. Not only did they harm people, but they also destroyed, religious buildings and venerated objects. Obviously, this is an equivalence fallacy wrapped up in a poisoning the well fallacy. Because you can't compare the League of the Militant Atheists of Soviet Russia to the modern atheist movement on the internet or in America. It's a poisoning the well because he's bringing this shit up in order to say, oh, atheists are bad because of this thing in the past. I mean, modern atheists generally value the right to express your religious beliefs. We value freedom of speech. We value the ability of you to have whatever beliefs that you want. You could also call this a guilt by association fallacy, because he's associating us with Stalin and shit.
And then I think the real problem they ran into, the money's gone. The money's gone. Actually, it was already figured out a few years ago that the money was gone, which is why atheism has been failing out popularly, and they can get fewer and fewer people at these conferences.
Whoa, wait, so the money is gone? What the fuck am I doing this for? Oh yeah, totes not money, and for my own pure enjoyment of trying to better the world. I mean, at this point, it's painfully obvious that Max is constructing a narrative, like an alternate reality, in order to deal with the fact that people just don't like his particular ideology. To him, people need to be paid in order to oppose him. Because there's no other way there's no other explanation for it. People have to be paid in order to do it. It's the same concept of during the election when everybody was like, oh, they're just paid shills at this protest. They were paid to come here and do this. They just couldn't handle the fact that people were just sincerely against Trump. At this point, you kind of have to ask, what the fuck did you snort in order to come up with this conspiracy theory? Oh, yeah, Christianity. Got it.
But based on some things I've read, and you can, call it political conspiracy or not, I think the last of the atheist money dried up.
Oh, this is way past political conspiracy at this point there, Max. This is fucking Pizzagate level shit here. And again, with the whole money bit. What the fuck, man? We're not paid fucking shills. We don't do this in order to get paid by people, some shadow group of people that are not only funding like the Four Horseman propaganda, the One Internet gang, and then the skeptic mafia. Like none of that exists, Max. See, that's my that's my version of you creating this reality out of thin fucking air.
We should note that another atheist conference kind of dash-conned out. It was supposed to be held in New York City. It fell through, just like the Melbourne one, just like the Mythicist Milwaukee, which just ended up being a disaster. These atheist conferences are failing one by one.
Okay, so yes, TAC did go down in flames, but it wasn't because of funding. They had the funding, they had the numbers to be there. But what happened was the founder of the conference kind of went off the rails when he was talking to guests that they were inviting. Not off the rails as in, you know, I'm going to text a picture of my penis to him, but it's more along the lines of just being a general dick to him. And acting very unprofessionally. This founder of TAC also suggested that big-name celebrities would be there, in which they were not. The Melbourne conference, it didn't have a lot of interest. The lack of funding was because of the lack of interest, not because they didn't have shadow backers in the shadow government of the world. It was just because there wasn't a lot of interest. One of the problems, potentially, was that they invited a very radical feminist there to speak. So, I mean, that could have affected it somewhat. But it wasn't because the shadow government people, like, ran out of money. Now, MythCon's a different thing because MythCon went off with a hitch, fully funded, had a lot of tickets sold, and I don't even know why you're lumping it in here, honestly, because it was a successful event. It generated a lot of controversy. But aside from the 50-minute shit show that was Thomas Smith interviewing Sargon, besides that, it was a really good conference, and I had a wonderful time there.
Well, it also has to be said that you and I actually don't have it as bad as people had it maybe 5 or so years ago, when you would look at the likes on any Christian video, and it would be disliked by like a 10-to-1 ratio or something. And there was a constant campaign of just these worthless drive-by comments. The whole kind of downvote brigade is not what it used to be. No, and the whole spamming the comments section brigade isn't what it used to be either.
And you know why? Because there's less money in it now. Because a lot of those creeps were getting paid to do it, and they know it.
So this downvote brigade and comment brigade or whatever, they were paid to do this. You legit think that they couldn't have just not liked your content or not liked the mannequins content or like Christians content? Nope, they all got to be paid because there's no way anybody can disagree with me. I mean, I never got a check, so I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you got a check. Subscribe to the channel if you didn't. I think that he legitimately thinks that an internet troll is a paid position in these shadow groups on YouTube. I mean, it can't just be that there are shit posters just like you who just so happen to be atheist as well. You know, come to think of it, you shit post a lot. I'm sure you downvote things. You comment shittily. Are you part of an internet Christian mafia? Who's your backer?
And they also take money to do dirt on someone, to go out. They're doing it to Coach Red Pill now, who's an atheist who's upset the boss atheist, right? He's a challenge. Coach Red Pill's like a challenger atheist, and boss Sargon has to destroy him. Because this is how these guys play, right? At least that's how guys like Sargon play. You can pay somebody to do dirt on you in atheist land. It's an open secret now.
Yeah.
And I think some of the younger atheist crowders new to this don't know that, but they do. You get paid to be a dirty, thuggish skeptic or thug and just razz people and all that.
So Sargon of Akkad is now in on this? Sargon is paying people to be thuggish on the internet. You legit think that this is more probable than people are just atheists and shit posters.
And then they started trying to get new businesses skeptics, skeptic for hire. That's how it works. I'll be skeptical of anything for a dime.
Mm.
And there's a whole underground market for that. Guess who plays in it? Guess who will deny playing in it? Let's put it to you that way. Which of them will deny playing in it? I think they all have.
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of evidence of that, especially since the Camden affair.
There's an underground black market where you can hire people to be skeptical of whatever the fuck you want. Seriously? They will literally be skeptical of anything for money in this black market. This is, of course, the third layer on top of all the other layers that we have already. The millionaire backers, the, internet, atheist community, the Four Horsemen, that would be in print media and everything. And then you'd have the internet skeptics and the skeptic mafia. And now we have the underground black market of skepticism. I mean, honestly, I think that this is so intricate, you could probably make this into an open world game where you have the three factions and you've got to gain favor in one of the factions in order to beat the other two. It's like Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 4 or any of those things.
They're still pussies. They won't confront the fact that the atheist, skeptic, rationalist community is a thug community, or has been. I don't think the younger ones are like that. I don't think the newer ones are like that, because I don't think there's money to pay a thug brigade out there anymore.
I have to honestly ask, what is his fascination with us being paid? I mean, I get it that he's kind of creating his own reality because he can't handle the fact that people oppose him. I mean, it's like he doesn't consider himself a big enough asshole to garner the kind of treatment that he gets.
Here's the thing. We're seeing this in millennials. I think millennials at some point are going to have to take the red pill and realize they were sold atheism as a marketing strategy and as a political ideology and as a source of instant validation. And they primarily were able to recruit fatherless children, people with daddy issues, and people who had bad religious upbringings. And they were able feed them with this whole narrative of fake history, and I can show how a lot of the history is fake, and fake science, because a lot of that's fake. Build up this atheist persecution complex. If you had a bad relationship with your dad and came from an abusive environment, you kind of have a persecution complex already, a justifiable one. I came from...
No, Max. Atheism was not sold to anybody. And it was not a marketing strategy or a political ideology to be sold. Atheism has been around since there was even an idea of a deity. Even you are an atheist in regards to 99.9% of all gods that we have conceived of in the past. I just go a little bit further and call them all bullshit. That's all it is. No need to pay anybody to think that or oppose you. No need to create this fantastical world that you've created where there's this elaborate conspiracy against the Christians on the internet. There is no instant validation in atheism. I really don't understand why he would think there's instant validation. We have to wait on shit just like you do, Max. With the exception of forgiveness. Because Christians, they do something wrong, all they gotta do is ask for forgiveness. That's it. So, I mean... it's kind of weird how you actually employ this whole instant validation thing. I mean, true, some people do have daddy issues, I guess. I mean, I myself have my own issues with my father and my parents in general, to include my mom. But, those are my issues to deal with. To blanket the entire group as having these daddy issues and being vulnerable and possessing toxic shame and all this other shit, it's just a hasty generalization that makes you look very myopic. As I bulleted this down before, what it comes down to is Max is forming a reality around himself. He can't deal with what the reality of the situation is, so instead of dealing with actual reality, he creates and substitutes his own reality. Being that there's a conspiracy theory where the Four Horsemen, TJ Kirk, and Noel Plum, and Penn Jillette are all paid shills by this shadow group of millionaires, and they also employ a skeptic black market. Like, that is the links that it has to go to just to explain why people would be opposed to Christianity on the internet and act the way they do on the internet. I mean, just take the persecution complex angle. I mean, he can't handle the fact that Christians have it pretty good in modern society. Barring the whole ISIS situation over there where they're just, they're killing everybody. Christians, at least in America, have it really, really good. They haven't been persecuted at all. But instead of dealing with actual reality, he then constructs his own reality of the situation, in which atheists actually have a persecution complex, while he suffers real persecution. According to the last Pew result, atheists were still the most distrusted group in America. That's above Catholic priests, who you definitely shouldn't trust your kid with. There are still laws on the books where atheists can't hold office. Even though they're not enforceable, they're still on the books. Last time I checked, there were no laws on the books where a Christian can't hold office. People of different religions are often shunned or made examples of in this country just for being different. There was a kid in Louisiana who didn't want to answer a obviously religious question on a test, and the teacher herself got up there and berated the kid. This was a kid, mind you, and that was an adult. So don't give me this shit about how Christians are the real persecuted ones in this country, and oh, poor old Max on the internet who has shit comments slung at him every day. I get shit comments too. We've got a whole series about it, Max. Thank you, Heathens, for joining me today. Please let me know down below in the comments which part of this crazy conspiracy theory you think is the most elaborate, or the craziest, or what the fuck ever. Just let me know. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of crazy ass content, and I will see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.